you thinking of starting your project management career this 2023? Then this is the video that you should be watching. Because in this video, I'll be helping you understand the project life cycle, which is a fundamental that every project manager should know. And also in this video, I'll be sharing some sites where you can begin that project management tutorial and courses for free. Hey lovelies, welcome to my YouTube channel, The Project Managers Essentials. My name is Ogechi Naji, and on this channel I talk about everything a project manager should know, starting from the tools, the techniques, the knowledge, the skills, and even evolving trends in the world of project management. Now, if you haven't seen my last video where I talked about how to start your project management career as a beginner, you should see that video, and I'm going to be leaving the link in my description box, so just go ahead and see that video, because in that video I talked about how you can start your project management career as a beginner, and the tips in that video might just be your ticket to landing that project management job even before you sit for your certification. Now, in today's video, I'll be talking about the project life cycle. So come on, let's get started. Do you know that an average adult at one point or the other has delivered on a project? This is because the project management's body of knowledge defines a project as a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product or result with a start and a finish date. So when you were planning that birthday party, when you were planning to buy that new car, build that new house, relocate maybe to another country, or you're just that person that your family will always call on to plan the end of the year party, that was you delivering on a project. Because all of these endeavors or activities that I've mentioned has a start, a finish date, and is a temporary endeavor. So if you have been part of any of this, there is nothing stopping you from learning the phases of a project. Now, there are 5 phases of a project life cycle, and they are the initiation phase, the planning phase, the execution phase, the monitoring and controlling phase, and of course, the closing phase. The initiation phase, which is the first phase of a project life cycle, is very important. This is because this is the phase where the idea is conceived or bettered. This is the phase where the idea is evaluated to determine if the project will be beneficial to the organization or not. In this phase, the project sponsors would definitely ask one question, and that is, why are we going on with this project? Why are we even doing this project in the first place? And the answers gotten from this very vital question determines if the project will go on or if it will be terminated to avoid sunk costs. One of the ways that project sponsors in this phase generate ideas for a new project is by evaluating an existing project to determine if there is a need for an upgrade or if there's even a gap that a new project could bridge. This phase is very, very important to even the project manager, because this is the phase where the project manager tries to get the objectives and the goals of a project. Getting the objectives and the goals of the project will help effective communication of the goals and objectives from the project manager to the team members. Imagine if a project manager did not understand the objectives of the project. It would even lead to this project manager maybe underestimating the resources that will be required for this project. This phase is also important because it is in this phase that stakeholders are identified. Now, who is a stakeholder? A stakeholder is anybody that may affect the project, anybody that the project may affect, or anyone that may perceive that any action or decision taken as regards the project may affect him or her. You see why the project manager must identify their stakeholders in this phase, which is the initiation phase of the project. Identifying stakeholders in this phase will help the project manager determine the level of influence a stakeholder would have on a project. Imagine having a stakeholder who has a high influence on a project, and you as a project manager failed to identify this stakeholder early, and then the stakeholder walks up one day and says, look, I don't know what you people are doing on this project. What this implies, or what this may imply, that the project manager is possibly on his or her way to losing his or her job, or even losing the project. So it's important that the project manager begins the process of stakeholder identification early and in the initiation phase. Another thing that happens in this phase is the development of the project charter. This is a document that contains high-level details of what is expected from the project. Usually, a project sponsor would hand over this document to the project manager. This document also contains the authorization for the project manager to commence the project, more like a go-ahead for the project manager to commence the project. Some of the high-level details that are in this document is a high-level schedule, high-level budget. These are some of the high-level details that you could find in a project charter. Now, moving on to the next phase of the project lifecycle, which is of course the planning phase. It is in this phase that the project manager and the team sits down to integrate all aspects of the project to develop a comprehensive project management plan. This comprehensive project management plan will drive the execution of the project. And to come up with a comprehensive project management plan, the project manager must be willing to ask 5 questions using 4 W's and 1 H. The first W is why. Why this project? Why is the sponsor interested in embarking on this project? The next is what. What are the deliverables that I and my team are expected to give back to the sponsor at the end of this project? The next is when. What are my timelines? When is this project due? When is this project under or above schedule? The next is who. Who are my resources? Whether physical, whether material. Who are they? And the last question, which is the H question, is how. How am I going to deliver the project in terms of what are my processes going to be like? Now, if the project manager is able to answer these questions, then the project manager and the team are on their way to delivering a comprehensive project management plan. The next phase is the execution phase. For me, this is a very interesting phase in project management, because this is a phase where all your talking is converted into works. This is when the actions come alive. This is when all of the plans are put into action, and depending on the methodology that is used, you begin to see or have a feel of what some of your deliverables will actually look like. In this phase of execution, the project manager's responsibility is to monitor the process of the project. The project manager's another responsibility is to manage communication, whether communication to stakeholders or between him and the team. The project manager is also responsible in this phase to manage and monitor resources. It is in this execution phase that the project manager acquires resources, conducts procurement, and even develops the team. This is an exciting phase for me as a project manager, because this is the phase where the work is actually done. Now, let me give you some tips to help you as a project manager to go through this phase seamlessly. One thing every project manager must learn to do in this phase is to adopt the servant leadership style. That servant leadership style will help the project manager Communicate with the team more effectively and more cordially. Another thing the project manager must do in this phase is to learn the act of delegation. Don't think because you're the project manager, you want to do everything by yourself. In this phase, you must let your team do their job. Your role is just to manage them, manage communication, monitor the scope, monitor budget, monitor schedule, and make sure that everything is working together as planned in your project management plan. And now that brings us to the fourth phase, which is the monitoring and control. You will notice that when I was talking about the execution phase, I kept saying monitor. That is because the monitoring and controlling phase works simultaneously with the execution phase. You will not wait until everything on your project management plan is executed before you begin monitoring control. You will have so much damages on your hands that you will not be able to control. So the monitoring and controlling phase goes hand in hand with the execution phase. And then finally, here we are at the closing phase of a project life cycle. Your project is not closed until the stakeholder has given their approval that everything that they have requested from the beginning of the project has been delivered to them. It is only until then that you can say that you have delivered a project. There are some other ceremonies that comes with closing a project, such as closing out all of your procurement activities. Until you do all of those things, your project is not closed yet. Now, if this video has been helpful to you, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit the notification bell, leave a comment so that YouTube knows that I'm actually pushing out content that is helpful to you. Thank you so much for staying with me till this point of the video. Now is that time that I promised I'll be sharing some sites where you can go to and start your project management courses and tutorials for free. Why don't you head on to allison.com, crm.org, oxfordhomestudy.com, Udemy, and of course, Coursera. These sites have a ton of project management courses that you can begin immediately for free. And until I come your way again in another video, please give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe bell, hit the notification bell so that when I post any new video, you will be the first to know. See you again.